Hello, Sussex Steppers. How are you? And welcome to Tuesday, the 3rd of March 2020. Yay, I got my date right. So hello and welcome. We have some royal stories to go through today, some Harry and Meghan stories. As always, this is a live chat and I am going to go and find the chat room and see who is around. Let's load up my page. Hope you've all had a really great day. Here we go. I see it. I see you all. I see you all coming in. Coming home to mama. Here you are. Hello to everyone. Right, so I do presume more and more people are going to be dropping in. So perhaps we'll save the main story until people have actually got here. So the main story we're going to be talking about today are reports coming in from sources that Harry has met with the Queen, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Also, we have a new World Wildlife Day Instagram post on Sussex Royal, and also psychotherapist and also godmother to Prince George has made comments on Harry, Meghan and William and the royal family on today's Good Morning Britain. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And of course, anything else that you guys might want to talk about. Yes, greetings. Jude says, what crown am I wearing today? Well, it's a tiara, but I see what you mean about it being a crown. It's quite big of stature. It is the Queen's Brazilian aquamarine tiara. So these stones, not these ones, but these are replicas, but the Queen was given stones just like this from Brazil way back when, and she had them made into a gorgeous tiara, of which this is a replica, and it is absolutely amazing. I mean, just look at that. I mean, like I say, it's one of the biggest in my collection, and I've also teamed it with this ring. Do you recognize the ring? I'm just trying to make it so that you can't, so that the lights do it justice. But do you recognize the ring, people? Maybe you recognize the ring. I don't know. Let me know if you recognize the ring. Annie says, be careful with sauces. Oh, yes. I'm very careful with the hot sauce. We'll talk about the sauces in a bit. Jude says, stunning tiara. Thanks for describing Diana's ring. Yes, it's Diana's cocktail ring, of course, of which Meghan has. And we still presume that Meghan has the ring. I think that was a wedding gift. So, yeah, there it is. The beautiful, stunning aquamarine cocktail ring. And I have a replica. Yay, isn't it gorgeous? Let's just pose. We can do some voguing in the ring. Isn't it gorgeous, darling? Isn't it gorgeous? Let's just appreciate. Let's appreciate the magnificence of this ring. Isn't it? Oh, look at that bling. I mean, just imagine if that was real. I mean, obviously it is real for Meghan, but if that was real, that would cost an absolute fortune. Isn't it stunning? Yes. But yes, it is Diana's ring, and we do still believe that Meghan still has that ring. Right, 70 odd people here. I think we could probably go. Let's go into the Instagram story post first. So I will share a link. I'm sure you've already seen, as I'm sure you are one of the 11.3 million people who are following them on Instagram. So there is the link to that. And we will talk about World Wildlife Day. So Harry and Meghan have posted a series of photographs, and there is a whole host of credits for those photographs, but there are quite a few of them, and they are all of animals for World Wildlife Day. So they say, today on World Wildlife Day, we recognise the importance of sustaining all life on Earth. Most definitely, I completely 100% agree with that. And celebrating the importance that animal and plant species play as key components of the world's biodiversity and therefore our survival. My goodness, it absolutely shocks and stuns me that people might not think that. I mean, who doesn't think that, you know, that we are only a small part of this world? You know, it's made up of so much more than just us. You know, the animals, the wildlife, the insects, everything. We are all part of a chain, an interlinked chain, and I can't believe that people would not even think that. But anyway, let's carry on. Organisations like African Parks, which the Duke of Sussex serves as president of, is working tirelessly to protect our critical ecosystems for today and future generations. African Parks Network is a conservation NGO that safeguards vast wild landscapes across Africa, with 17 national parks across 11 African countries, covering over 13 million hectares of land and wildlife. Wow, it's vast. I mean, that is a vast, huge protection. But this work goes far beyond just wildlife and into the local communities. African parks are ensuring that these protected areas support the surrounding communities through providing security, education, healthcare, and employment by investing in local services to create conservation-led economies, because people and wildlife need the same conditions to thrive. I completely 100% agree. To find out more, you can follow the link to African Parks Network, and they used a little cute emoji of a elephant. Wow, I mean it's really important stuff. But also, it kind of links in as well, I think. I was getting major vibes from the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy project as well, of course, which all the royals have been involved with, but Prince Harry as well has been massively involved with the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy. And again, that's about protecting vast amounts of rainforests, regular forest, any sort of forest, protected against being deforested, giving the world, our planet, its lungs. So I very, very, very much see in the work that Harry's going to be doing with African parks, it's also kind of interlinked, I think, with the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy as well. To me, they're kind of almost one in the same, apart from one is protecting animals and our biodiversity, the other is protecting the lungs of our planet. But both incredibly vital works. Janice says, too big for my hand, but always loved it. Oh, it's not too big for anyone's hand. It's gorgeous. Just go over the top and wear it. Isn't it gorgeous? Look, I could be one of those hand models. Yes, isn't it gorgeous? Right, let's go down a little bit and see what people are saying. Right, shall we move on to the main story? Because I know everyone's going to be talking about this. So, yes, there has been lots and lots of talk about Harry potentially having had a 4-hour meeting, although it has been described as informal. So I think any kind of language around, meeting, summit, all those kinds of words are completely inflated and not particularly relevant. It has been described as a low-key meeting between grandson and grandmother, although lasting about 4 hours, and it's said to have taken place on Sunday. And of course, we saw the Queen out for church on Sunday. So I'm presuming that this probably, if it did happen, would likely have probably happened in the afternoon post-church. So the Queen does like to have afternoon tea after church. So presumably, I'm thinking maybe Harry dropped in for afternoon tea. But I am going to kind of go into this and say that it has been described as a royal source. Now, we all know with these royal sources, sometimes they may actually have had these reporters may actually have had someone that they have been speaking to. Other occasions, they may have made it up completely. With everything that's been going on recently, it's quite hard, I think, to decipher which one it is without there being an actual statement from the Sussexes or an actual statement on behalf of the palace saying that this meeting actually took place. We're going to have to, in the absence of that, because there isn't that, we are going to have to just talk about the possibilities of, did it happen, did it not happen, what's most likely. So I want to I do have an article open in front of me. I don't particularly feel like sharing it because I am going to almost, I suppose, dissect it anyway. So I just want to kind of put the notes aside and just talk about what we actually know. So what we actually know is that Harry is in the UK. He's been attending a series of engagement dubbed the last of his senior royal role. So we know he's in the country. He hasn't flown back out to Canada to rejoin Meghan. So where does Harry stay when he is in the country? He only has the one home. Well, I say only has the one home. It is a massively beautiful cottage called Frogmore Cottage, and that is on the Windsor estate, on the Frogmore estate, but within the Windsor grounds. So where would Harry likely have spent the weekend? Well, most likely he would have come down and spent time in his home, Frogmore Cottage. Where does the Queen spend her weekends? Well, she spends her weekends in Windsor. We saw evidence of the fact that the Queen was in Windsor. Therefore, it's likely, and I think this is where we have to start making a little bit of guesswork in all of this, but also, understanding that it is guesswork. So we can assume that either Harry did or did not go and meet the Queen. Now, presumably, seeing as he hasn't seen her for a while since the Sandringham Summit, as it was known, the hashtag Sandringham Summit, it's more than likely that Harry probably would have gone to visit his grandmother, perhaps after church in the afternoon. And I think this is probably where a lot of the royal reporters are getting it from, because again, it's that sort of circumstance where it's likely that he may have done. He may not have done, but he also might have done. And there is, there's no kind of really big news about a grandson going to visit his grandmother at the weekend. I go and see mine at the weekend. You guys probably go and see yours if you're still lucky enough to have them. You go and see your friends and your family. It's what you do at the weekend. So, in all likelihood, whether or not there is an actual royal source, whether there is an actual leak or not, it's probable that he did go and visit his grandmother. They're both likely, well, we know the Queen was there, we've seen her, but it's likely that Harry was in the same location. It's likely that he may have gone to see his grandmother. Now, reports are saying 4 hours. Again, we don't know how long Harry spent with the Queen, but, presumably there was, if he did go for 4 hours, there would have been quite a lot to talk about. Now, it says the royal source revealed that they spoke about his upcoming future plans. Again, I don't know how a royal source would necessarily know that, because presumably any meeting between the Queen and Harry would have been private. So, it's either a royal leak from somebody who was in on it, perhaps maybe even somebody who knows Harry. I don't know. Or it could just be a complete load of nonsense and complete guesswork and speculation by the press. But the other news was that the Queen apparently turned around and said that Harry and Meghan could rejoin the fold whenever they liked. Again, this is something that's not kind of big news. It's not a really big leap to imagine that that's what was said, if indeed anything was said, because we know that there is a transition period with the new arrangements. We know that Harry and Meghan still officially have the HRH and the Prince and Princess styles and titles. They're just not choosing to use it. They are still royal. So of course, the door has been kept open. The door has most definitely been kept open. So it's not a big, huge leap for a reporter to speculate on the fact that Harry may have gone to meet the Queen and that that's what may have been said. I think anybody could have predicted that. You don't need a crystal ball, is what I'm trying to say. So, in the absence of any actual concrete information, I think I've probably spoken about this story as much as I can, and that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it at a story, because we don't know. We don't know if it's a true story or an untrue story, or just something that is likely to have happened because, hey, it's just normal. It's just normal to go and see your family at the weekend if you're in the same place. So, I'm going to go to the chat room and see exactly what people are saying. Let's go down and take a look. Right, I'm going down. Countess Bavaria says, The Guardian does not generally report on royals, but it has mentioned this meeting of Harry with Her Majesty the Queen, his grandmother. I mean, that is one thing to say as well. You know, not all of the publications just post something just to fill pages. A lot do, some don't. And also, it's quite telling that all of the royal press are saying the same kind of thing. Now, I know they have a bit of a pack mentality. They do often work in a pack. More often than not, they are a little bit like lemmings. They will follow suit. But occasionally, also, if a royal reporter doesn't think that something is true, they will sometimes call that out, and no one has at present. Sarah says, I wonder why almost no one seems to ask, why would his own grandmother and family leak so many stories about Harry and Meghan? Again, it is weird. But also there are a lot of staff as well. There are a lot of staff, and you don't know who might be talking to who. It is leaks can and do happen. It's trying to decipher which ones are the true ones that's really hard. And that is hard. In the absence of any concrete, definitive proof of anything, it's hard to decipher which ones are true and correct. Which is why we have to kind of sometimes just look at the whole big picture and think, hey, what is most likely? But also with an understanding that maybe what we think is most likely also might not have happened. If that makes sense. Exactly, Christine. Why wouldn't he visit his own grandmother? It's just a normal thing to do. Yes, I agree with you, Sarah. A source can lie too. I mean, if they're going to get some money, they could make up any kind of lies. But like I said, I mean, it's not the sort of story that's it's not an horrendous story. I mean, what, grandson goes to visit gran. I mean, is that such a bad story? I mean, I'm just scrolling down to see if a comment catches my eye. Carol says, I think he did meet with his grandmother. Rosa says, just said they are making up stories and want people to believe these stories. People with no faces getting stories from the palace. Live, Love and Laugh says, I think it's possible he did meet with his granny, but for 4 hours. That's a long cup of tea. That's several pots of tea, I have to say. Or maybe a Coke. I don't know what Harry drinks these days. But yeah, that's a long tea. That's more like tea, lunch, cakes, a movie. I mean, I don't know. That's long. That is quite a long time. But hey, there may have been a lot to talk about. I mean, if you've got lots and lots of plans to tell your grandmother, especially when she's the queen, then perhaps it may have taken 4 hours. Who knows? Helen Grell says, agree with me. Well, thank you. I'm glad you agree. Yes, I am wearing the aquamarine tiara. Isn't it gorgeous, darling? And also the aquamarine ring as well. Stunning. Diana's cocktail ring. Right, so I'm going to park that story there because there's nothing else we can kind of say on it. I feel like I've done that story to death now. So, yeah. Headline news. Grandson goes to visit grandmother at the weekend. Well done, reporters. Seriously. I mean, come on. Oh, I mean, seriously. My goodness, that was a fan toss. My goodness. Right, I'm going to move on to the final story of today, which is psychotherapist, a lady called Julia. Now, Julia Samuel has spoken on, I think it was Good Morning Britain today, and she is actually Prince George's godmother, and she knows William and Harry as well. And she was also really good friends with Diana. So she was speaking about everything that's been going on with Harry and Meghan stepping back from senior royal life, and her opinion on it, on Prince William and Prince Harry, is that Prince Harry and William are very authentic. Now, I don't think she mentioned Meghan because she probably doesn't know Meghan that well, but she knows Prince William and Harry from long past, and she has said that William and Harry she describes as being very authentic people, and believes that what's happened with Harry and Meghan stepping back from senior royal roles shows the complexity of any normal family. So this is not a piece where she has been slating anybody. She's been saying that, hey, sometimes, families do and are what families are. I'm sure you all know from your own families, it's a road. It's a road, and there are highs, there are lows. Hopefully there are more smooth times than lows, and there's more highs than lows, but it's normal. Things just happen in families, it's normal. She knows these boys, she describes them as authentic and thinks that everything is just normal. No, it wasn't Good Morning Britain, it was Lorraine. I do like Lorraine Kelly though. So yeah, she said Prince William and Harry show in public what they are actually like. In other words, she says that they are that they wear their hearts on their sleeves. They are what they are in public as what they are in real life. And this is coming from someone who actually knows them. If you want to watch a clip of her speaking, I do believe it's on the YouTube channel of Lorraine, Lorraine. So you can go and watch her full statement. She says nobody has the perfect family, and it's not about not having disagreements, but talking about it and communicating about it. Open families are the best. So there we go. That was her take on what's happened. Let's have a look what people are saying. Unique K says, are you saying he has to visit his grandma and someone has to always be in the room with them? There's no one with his grandma alone. No, they can most definitely have personal one-on-one time. If that's what they want. There does not have to be someone in the room the whole time. The Queen is not chaperoned. She has her close protection officers, as does Harry, and they will most likely be either outside of the room or in another part of the palace where it is safe, of the Windsor Castle it would have been, where it was safe for them to be within contactable distance. And of course, sometimes the protection officers don't follow them around within the royal residences because the royal residences themselves are so protected, but they will be on site. So no, they most definitely can have one-to-one time by themselves. So that raises another question. How would someone know exactly what was said? It is what it is. Leslie says, you are so funny as you distill breaking news. Grandson spends Sunday afternoon with grandmother. I know. My goodness, it's breaking news. I mean, come on. Oh, it must have been a slow news Sunday. Reverend Darlene says, what do you think about SmartWorks and HD partnering? SmartWorks gets a shirt or a skirt or pants free for every piece of clothing bought, just announced. Well, obviously that has been just announced, and I'm sure there will be further details coming out. But anything, I mean, let's just hark back to the original SmartWorks collaboration with Meghan and the partnering with Marks and Spencer's and all the other British retailers. That was a really, really great idea. Now, I do believe something similar was done in the States before it was tried in the UK with SmartWorks, but it was really, really good, and it was a really hugely successful way of enabling that charity to properly dress and clothe those who need it for their workplace interviews. The collections sold out, so therefore the consumer benefited by getting something that they really wanted, and also the people benefiting from the charities also got an amazing outfit that worked together. I mean, that was the main key feature of what Meghan wanted with SmartWorks. It was to make an outfit that worked together. It wasn't just odd pieces thrown in here and there. It was a cohesive look that these women could benefit from. So anything that is going to further that is going to be spectacular and amazing. So yes, I think it's a really, really great idea, and hopefully the start of many. Hopefully we'll see other variations of this model. I think it's known as the one-for-one model. I've heard it called different things, but I think I best remember it as the one-to-one model. And anything that furthers that, I think, is going to be really, really good. And it benefits people. People actually are helped to get a job because they look more cohesive in their appearance. I mean, obviously, it doesn't change what the person has to offer inside, but it does give the potential employee more confidence, makes them feel good about themselves. They look smart. So yeah, it's really, really good that is being developed and pushed further forwards. Helen says, can we have breaking news visiting? Elliot visiting his grandmother. Well, I visited mine today. I believe the headlines are being written up just as I speak. Right, okay, that's all my stories done for today. So, I am going to go, and of course, if anything breaks in the meantime, if Harry goes to see his grandmother again, oh my goodness, then I will pop back on and tell you. So, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. I'm going to just show my ring. And also hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. And also make sure you are subscribed to the channel. So, from me in Shropshire, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.